My name is Melissa Fisher, and this is my solo show, my first solo show, Be Present. I mainly do installation work in my studio, site-specific, that gets destroyed afterwards. So I started making fabric prints using the documentation photographs of my installations as kind of like a new reality of what they once were. Wherein my installations themselves usually have a lot of symmetry and like kind of like a focal point. There's like a very meditative nature to them, and I find once they are turned into a pattern, that kind of gets lost. I see it kind of as this like regurgitation of information and this like recycling of material. In my installations, I use a lot of found objects or things that are given to me or things that I find. In this installation, I've done a bunch of collages that are on the walls, and there's wasps hanging at the top of each one, which actually were in my studio for the past like week and a half before I came to Victoria. They were on their way out and would fly around in my studio in the evening, and in the morning I would find one dead every morning for about 9 days. So I brought them here. I looked up kind of like the symbolism of wasps, and they signify like productivity and communication, among like some other stuff that I can't remember right now. But yeah, so there's kind of like this parallel in my work where like a lot of the objects that I use in my installations I end up reusing. I kind of have this database of props, of sculptures that I make and objects that I find that I like constantly repurpose and reuse for new work. And I kind of see the fabric working in that way as well, because fabric can take many different forms. It can be hung from one point, it can be hung from dowels like it is here today. I'm actually going to be using this fabric next year. My friend Chris Bonney, who is so kind to do a poem and a poster for the exhibition here today, we're working on a feature film called Two Cares Do None in Prosetti, Italy next spring, and we'll be using a lot of these prints as props as well as making costumes out of them. So again, there's kind of like this recycling of material and kind of renewal of like realities of what they're initially made from. I think we live in a time of multiple realities where we are in 4 different places at once, at least. We have phones in our pockets, we're connected to the internet. It's like kind of overwhelming sometimes, and I think I'm interested in portraying that in my work, but the starting point in my installations is a point of kind of shutting all of that out, where like I make these thread installations and I kind of go into a zone where I don't think about anything. So it's kind of a point of trying to like let go of a lot of things, but then also realizing that that's almost impossible to really attain fully, and like you can't necessarily do that, or I don't necessarily want to, but I'm just like being aware, I guess, of all that stuff. Yeah. Thanks for taking a look at my stuff.